Welcome back to another episode of Squatch Lounge. I'm Ryan White, aka the Squatch Ranger, your host, and here with me is Troy Hudson of the Kiamichi Mountains Adventures. He's going to share some of his experiences. He is the field expedition leader for the Kiamichi Mountains Adventures, and those are Bigfoot Expeditions in the Kiamichi Mountains. But first, before we get into those questions, I want to know how the 2019 Honobia Bigfoot Conference and Festival went.
Actually, this year, in my opinion, I think it was better than the last few years. We had a whole lot more people. People do put a lot of stock in, how many people come to your conference and everything. We obviously judge that too by the popularity of it. If we keep growing and more people coming, obviously we're doing the right thing. This year we actually had some difficulties in finding parking spaces. Even though we have a 40-acre complex here, with over 50 buildings on it, but we're limited to where we can park cars. And our gentleman that handled the parking, Steve from our security team, had a little difficulty finding parking spaces. So that's a good thing. If you're having to have a ability to have to find parking spaces for people, that means you're doing something good. So I will say that this past year was very, very good. We're looking at next year, 2020. We haven't announced the speakers yet, but we will have some good speakers. We may be looking at doing a few things a little bit different, maybe adding a few things to kind of mix up the monotony a little bit.
Are you able to share maybe some of those new ideas, or not just yet?
Well, we haven't really spoken to the Bigfoot Conference Festival Committee yet and everything, and it didn't really affect the festival itself. It merely just adds. We're looking at maybe adding a different event in the evening time, just before storytelling, to kind of bring a little bit more of a personal feel and kind of a social event for the attendees. So, but until then, right now it's just an idea. We are looking forward. We're just a couple of days before Christmas, so we are looking at probably just that first year getting into the organization for this year, planning and developing next year's plan.
Well, I can't wait to see what next year brings at the conference. Let's talk about the Honobia Expeditions. What's your plans for the future with your expeditions?
Well, we're going on, I think, for the Kiamichi Mountain Adventures, we're looking at, under that preview of that name, probably the last 5 years. But we've been doing expeditions here for about 14 years. I have been doing expeditions here in the Honobia areas for about 14 years. We've been doing an average of 4 or 5, sometimes 8 expeditions a year, depending on some of our work schedules with everybody, because everybody in our team works. But what we're looking at is doing some upgrades, and we've done enough of these. Everybody in our team has enough experience doing these, and we've had some comments and asking some recommendations from the attendees that come. We're actually looking at providing 3 different types of an experience. One of them would be basically your basic primitive camping. So if an individual wants to come and they want the experience of being outdoors, sleeping outside, we have people come all the time and talk about, what's the best way to get the experience. And I said, well, probably sleeping in a tent. We'll put you in a spot where historically we know that people camp in that spot or have a tent in that spot usually does not get any sleep because they're harassed, majority of the night. Not every night, but some nights that, the individuals who explained that, they couldn't get no sleep because something kept throwing something at the tent or kept playing with the edge of the tent.
And on one of the expeditions I was on with you, somebody chose to tent camp and they ended up leaving in the middle of the night.
That is correct. That was a couple of years ago, if I recall. The individual young man left in the middle of the night. So, it could be configured of why he left in the middle of the night, but there was some activity during that time frame, and the individual chose that.
Right. So what are some of the other options
Yep. Some of the other options basically is the dorms. We have church. This is a church camp, so there are dorms. The dorms are pretty primitive in a way that, you know, there's bunk beds, there's mattresses. You had to bring your own linen, you had to bring your own pillow, your own towels. The bathrooms are there. They're still a church camp, so you still have a little bit of wildlife and insects and different things that, you know, you have your normal, like your any type of a state park or whatever type facility. It's not the best facility, but it is there. You know, you have running water, you have a toilet, you have a shower and a sink and everything.
The essentials.
The essentials. And then the third would be the lodge here. You can show them a tour of the lodge. We took a tour of the lodge. You probably right after this video, you'll be able to see a tour.
It's quite beautiful, by the way.
Yes, it's very, very, very well done. It's very, very beautiful for a man to say. It's very. It's very luxurious. It's something you would see in southeast Oklahoma. It's something you would see down in the Broken Bow in the Hochtown area. And of course, with that, our cost of providing this for the attendees for the exhibition, that cost goes up. There's actually many factors that's going in with this now. Is the property is no longer on well water. It is on county water. So that is a service, it's a product, the water now have to be paid for. So in the past we had not had to factor that in. We have the electric bill for this building alone, you know, to the mission. So we are allowed to use the facilities when there's no event. So those events pay for themselves. You can imagine us hosting an expedition with people coming in. It's when there's no longer any freebies. So we have to kind of rent the space, so to speak, to have the facilities and the location of where we had these expeditions. So the fee goes up a little bit because you have the accommodations, such as if you were to go to any other type of cabin or retreat somewhere in the mountains of southeast Oklahoma. So there'll be a fee range for the tent camping, and there'll be a fee range for the dorm, and then for people that want to stay in the luxury of the lodge and everything, it'll be a different fee. It'll be, of course, a little bit.
Is food included in each one of these packages?
It is on Saturday. The reason why it's just on Saturday is on Fridays, not everybody arrives at the same time. So people it's really hard to try to figure out. We've tried it in the past. It did not work of trying to do dinner on a Friday because everybody had different times they were coming in. So Friday, everybody's kind of on their own. If they want to get something to eat before they come into the mountains. You know, there's no gas stations between here for another 15 miles to the north, and then 50 miles to the west. You know, so we have the store here. They do catfish on Friday nights, and they're open till 8. So the attendees are able to come down. But on Saturday morning, again, not everybody's getting up and wanting to go to breakfast. Not everybody eats breakfast, so you're kind of on your own on breakfast. So, but we do provide lunch, and we do provide the dinner. So that way you're not having to worry about it going down or whatever. Plus we have everybody here. We kind of provide a little more of a team, family atmosphere when everybody's able to sit around the table and eat and talk and explain what they heard the night before and talk about the plans for the evening, what we're going to do. So it serves a multi-purpose reason why we kind of cook for everybody and have everybody kind of together. It's hard to do it at the store, to sit there with a whole bunch of people coming and going, and we're talking about Bigfoot, so it's more of the personal team and family atmosphere if we're able to all sit around the table and have the room to ourselves. So.
Now also, when you're upping the fees a little bit, are the people, your customers, are they getting experienced field guides, or are they getting Joe Schmo taking you out there?
Joe Schmo. Outside of it, looking at it from a business standpoint, your guides, such as yourself, you're an experienced field investigator. You've been on half a dozen, if not probably multiple field expeditions. You take reports, investigate reports. You've kind of come under us of helping you do these investigations. So you have experience in the field to show people. You have people, you have the skills that you're able to share what you've heard and what you've seen. So you and 5 or 6 other of our team members, that's a lot of years experience. You have myself and another gentleman that are certified level technician 1 wilderness search and rescue technicians here in the state of Oklahoma under the OSU Fire Service Training Center. We've gone through that certification process. Some of us are NASAR wilderness survival and search rescue technician. We have some of us are medics, certified medics here in the state of Oklahoma, first responder. Some of us are actually wilderness certified first responder medics to provide care in a wilderness environment. So not only are you coming to an expedition, you're coming with people that carry some certifications that you would find if you were going to Montana or Colorado to go to a wilderness kayaking expedition or a exotic hunt. You know, you're paying for those services, you're paying for those certifications. Not only of that is that we've been conducting expeditions here for so long, we know the area, and we've proven to our expedition attendees that they actually have gotten to see things. There's been multiple people on our expeditions that have seen them. There's been several people who have seen them in the daytime. Now, do they see them every single time they go out? No. But do they have an experience that they can talk about the next day and to their friends and right on Facebook? Yes, because everybody that's come has a story to tell about something that they've heard, seen, smelled, or felt. So, I mean, I've been told we undercharge our fees, you know, so we try to make it accommodating. There are other expedition providers out there. I belonged to an organization years ago, and that's how I got into running the expeditions, because I was running some of the expeditions, organizing and leading them for another organization, and I see what they charged. Well, knowing people that sometimes can't afford those extravagant fees, trying to make it accommodating. Plus, we have facilities in most expeditions. Majority of the ones that other organizations have is you bring your own tent, bring your own food, do your own cooking, and plus you're having to pay for that, pay to be there. So we provide an area where you can actually come in out of the weather and elements and take a shower and have running water if you so wish to have it, and sleep in a bed. So
very impressive. So I want to talk about the Bigfoot sighting reports. How are the eyewitnesses, how can they approach you? How can they report a Bigfoot sighting to you and your organization?
Well, now that social media and the internet and Facebook is so widely used, in the past, basically, it was someone knew someone that knew someone that happened to know somebody that knew me that would send an email and a phone number, and I would reach out to that person. Myself, working in law enforcement over the years and working in emergency management, I have the ability to be involved in the community and be out there knowing other agencies and being in the law enforcement, that brotherhood community. A lot of my reports have come through other law enforcement resources because some of them know that I'm involved in this. And I'd say probably 1 out of 3 incidences, usually some law enforcement may know about it, or they may be knowledgeable of that area, or a friend of a friend's brother's in law enforcement and says, hey, works in the county, have you ever heard reports from this? So eventually it works my way back my way. Today, the way Facebook works and the way the media, and you have your Facebook page, your regular blog or whatever, myself being involved with the conference has actually helped too, because that has kind of expanded our resource and our name, you know, our organization being out there, and myself being at this for more than getting close to over 15 years, you know, people get to know you in the area. So it either comes through a phone call from a friend, or it comes through Facebook, or someone knows somebody that attends a conference that knows to reach out to us, but it usually ends up on Facebook that usually reaches out to us or sends us an email. Or it's personal contacts that I actually know because of my background, that they just call me directly. So.
All right, well, we're running out of time, so let's wrap this up. One more question. I understand you've been catching some unfortunate attention from some other people in the Bigfoot research community. Do you want to share your thoughts or tell us about that? What's going on with that? What's going on your Facebook page? What do you want to tell the people?
Well, you've been a member of our organization for a while. You've been on a bunch of our expeditions, and you've been a staff member at our conference and festival, and you see that we actually operate a security program and a team of people that come in and help provide security at the Bigfoot Conference and Festival. That was birthed out of several years ago with an organization that, for whatever reason, had problems. I don't know. There were some problems. And it created a situation where it required us to have some security here at the conference, here at the church mission. With that being said, that group and organization has, over the years, has come and gone. People with that organization has come and gone and left and whatever. And they're a bunch of good people, but they just, I don't know. I have no idea. Animosity, I do not know why. But I have been a target of a lot of people on the internet, seeing me talk about our expeditions and making comments on Facebook pages and whatever, and they jump in there, and I don't know why people have to be that way. You've known me for several years. I don't know. I'm assuming this probably came from just a couple weeks ago. There was a comment on our native Oklahoma Bigfoot. Somebody was making some comments, and then I removed those comments, and then that person went back and forth on that, and I explained to them that our Facebook page, as well as other Facebook page and groups, they're there to talk about Bigfoot. They're here to talk about their experiences. They're not there to talk about drama and who doesn't like somebody and all the silliness that goes along with that. Because when we go on our expeditions and we're out doing our things, that's what we're talking about. We're not into the drama, what other people think and what other people do, and for whatever reason, people have the need and feel to bully other people and to demean, demoralize and slander and defamation of character, whatever words you want to use. They have their own personal feelings and what they feel about me or what I do. As you referred to earlier in the day, that people always talk about maybe we host a lot of it. And you've been on the expeditions, and I probably had more than 700 or 800 people out in the woods doing these expeditions over all these years. If you count all the people that have attended and multiply it with all the expeditions we've done, out of 800 people, or not probably a little bit more, and even private expeditions, one-on-ones, you can go back and talk to those people. They're on our Facebook page. You can come to the conference and talk to them and ask them if they feel that we host stuff here. We do things with our expeditions for a reason why we do things, so people can actually observe in the scenario of what's occurring at that moment, that obviously we're not hoaxing it because we're standing right next to you. There's been comments that we've hired to put people in the woods. Well, if you notice this location where we do it, in your opinion, if you've been here on the property, say for a whole full day, and we're into that next day, we're past 24 hours, and we're going down into these locations, would it not be obvious to you that if we had somebody in the woods playing games? But the thing of it is you've been in the woods with me together. I don't think I know anybody that's 10, 15 feet tall and can run through the woods in the dark without night vision.
Right, yeah.
At 15 miles an hour charging through the woods with no night vision on.
Right.
So the accusations of hoaxing this, we got better things to do. We know what we're doing, and we know what we've done, and people, come to our expedition and they get the experience, and I'm glad you kind of brought that up, because I try to just go on down the road, and people have, it's the Second Amendment. You have the right to freedom of speech. First Amendment, I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay, Second Amendment is a freedom of speech because you can carry a gun and talk however you want. But yeah, I'm sorry, First Amendment, you have the freedom of speech. You have the freedom to worship wherever you want. My voice to that basically is people will continue until the end of time. People can continue to bully people on social media and talk bad about somebody because somebody didn't like the way they did it. I don't know. We'll never get rid of that type of attitude. We should come together as a team. We should all work together. I wish the groups would come together, but there's too much competition in this Bigfoot research, and there's just too much ego. There's way too much ego in this. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it.
Well, all I can say is that I've worked with Troy many times. He's a class act. He's always very, very professional. He's always focused on Bigfoot. He's very passionate about Bigfoot, and I'm just very honored to get to work with you.
Oh,
So,
I appreciate it.
Thanks for inviting me out, and thanks for visiting us on Squatch Lounge. We'll see you guys later.